we all want to be able to change the way we feel. And that's what I spend my life showing people how to do. And what most people don't know is emotion is created by motion. The way you move determines the way you feel. You have 80 different muscles in your face, 80. For most people, this is the largest area of unemployment in the country. They use the face the same way, they feel the same emotions over and over and over again. So what I was saying is I have this deal with myself called priming. Every day I say, look, you got to have 10 minutes for yourself. You don't have 10 minutes for yourself, you don't have a life. And I'm not going to hope I feel good. I just got back 6 countries in 12 days. I was in India 2 days ago.
Wow.
And I woke up here feeling like somebody ran me over with a truck.
But you got yourself psyched up.
But the way I did it is I do this process. And it's 10 minutes. I put some music on. I do this massive change in my breathing, so it radically changes the way I feel. And then I do this 3-step process. First, I do 3 minutes of gratitude, where I think of 3 things I'm really grateful for, and I associate. I don't think of it over there. I feel it. And the reason is, when you're grateful, you can't be worried. You can't be fearful. When you're grateful, you can't be angry. And anger and fear are what screw people up most in their relationships, in their life, in their business. So I wire myself. I was saying to you that most people want to be happy, but their habit is to be worried or pissed off or frustrated or stressed. And so they've got a highway to stress and they got a dirt road to happiness. So I wire myself. I've got a highway to gratitude, which changes all your emotions. And then I do a 3-minute process of kind of a prayer for my family and friends. And then I do a 3-minute process of the top 3 things I want to accomplish. I see it as done and I feel it. I'm done in 10 minutes. So sometimes I go 20, but my deal is 10. So there's no excuse not to do it. I think life has no meaning. It scared the hell out of me, and I developed tools, and I've never gone back there. I mean, have I gotten pissed or angry? Of course. People still think, you're not happy all the time, are you? No, I'm not happy all the time. But I'm happy the vast majority of the time because I'm doing what I love with who I love, and there's a meaning in what I do. When you have those 3 things, life is pretty magnificent.
Most people, half of what they thought today is the same things they thought yesterday. About themselves, about their life, about their business. That's why most people's lives don't change very much. But if you wake up and you start realizing, I'm living in a home, an emotional home I don't want, you can change it. See, because everybody's got it. If you got $1 billion, check this out. If you had $1 billion, but the habitual emotions you go back to are frustrated and pissed off, then your life is called frustrated and pissed off. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Write this down, please. The quality of my life is the quality of my habitual emotions. The quality of my entire life is nothing but the quality of my habitual emotions. Whatever habits of emotion, wherever my emotional home is, I will find a way to get back there. And until I change that, I'm gonna have a problem. How many of you see people in some part of the world, in my country, for example, you'll see this in the middle of America where there's certain places that have cyclones all the time. Or maybe down in New Orleans or places where every few years you get a huge storm that wipes out everybody right on the coast there. But then 2 years later, it happens again. They rebuild, it happens again. How many have ever thought to yourself, why don't these people move? And why don't they move, guys? Because it's what they're conditioned. They call that home. I don't want to leave my home. It's what I know. It's easy to see when it's somebody else and it's physical. It's harder to see when it's yourself and it's emotional.
The more you can cultivate that sense of wealth, that sense of abundance in you, the more you can feel that sense of joy, the more easy it's going to be for you to do financially. Because you're not going to be in this scarce, fearful mode. Now, that's not enough by itself. You can have this great sense of abundance and do the wrong mechanics and be a disaster. True or false? But if I had to have an area to get you started with, you want to have the emotion and psychological strength, because that's going to carry you through when the mechanics are boring or frustrating, or when things aren't working out. Your emotion, your psychology is what will carry you. It'll get you to keep doing it. Everyone knows, if you've done any studies, Dr. Seligman is very famous for doing studies on optimism. And in those studies, you know what he found out? People that are pessimists are much more realistic. They're much more accurate. If you give them a test and you ask them to look at something and give you a size measurement of it, or to evaluate their own success or failure at a task, in every study Seligman's done, he did it in the University, I think Pennsylvania if I remember correctly originally, what he found was that optimists always see themselves as doing better than they really did. They basically BS themselves. What happens to pessimists, they're 10 times more accurate. But here's what he found out. What he found out is because the people who are accurate never push themselves because they know it's never going to work anyway. Whereas the optimist sees it better than it is, so they keep doing it. because they have the illusion they did well. Well, I'll do even better next time. And because of that optimism, they did it more often. And so optimists succeed at a 4 to 5-fold, depending upon the task, result ultimately beyond anything that a pessimist will do, and they're not as accurate. All that's a big way of saying is, if you can develop a psychology of resilience in yourself, you don't have to be optimistic or fake, you can be real. The realness is, whatever shows up, you are larger than anything that can happen to you. You are larger than any financial challenge you could ever face. Initially, we'll say, well, look at their houses, look at their homes, and they don't really have electricity, they don't have this, but they don't feel poor. It's your identity. The way you define the wealth determines whether you're wealthy or not. So are there enough things for you, knowing that 2/3 of the planet lives on $2 a day, that you could get yourself to really feel grateful, yes or no? How much of your life do you get benefits from today that you never had to create? Think about it. Whatever stage of life that we're in, the fundamentals we're going to talk about will make a measurable difference for you, but you're going to have to decide what's right for you. So all I'm trying to tell you is, today, think of this as a second opinion. Think of this as the most important subject of your life, even though you may not have made it that way. Think of it as something that isn't a should, but a total what? A must to master, because if you master this, everything else you can dream of is available to you. And if you fail to master this, everything else goes to the wayside. I mean, I meet people all the time in relationships and they want relationship therapy. And I say, you know what you gotta do? You gotta exercise, you gotta work out, you gotta lose some weight. You guys are just so tired, there couldn't possibly be any passion. When you're exhausted, there is no passion. And people say, okay, well, I'm gonna really work on a plan and I'm gonna organize things and I'm gonna find the best trainer. And I come back and I'm talking to them a week later and they're still planning things. This woman's telling me, no, but I'm gonna get the best trainer. I got the very best trainer to organize this. I said, ma'am, with all due respect, you don't need a plan, you need a trainer, you need somebody who gets behind you and just yells, run! Move! You don't need this long plan, you just gotta move. We're living in a society where nobody moves anymore. What do we like today? How do people get injured today? They don't get injured smashing into people, playing football and anything else. They get injured typing, right? Picking up a pencil. That's how people get hurt today, because we don't use everything anymore. We live in a box. Think about it. Think about our lives today and how different it is than maybe the way we were formed to be made, to run, to hunt, to create, to procreate, to raise our children, to move, to farm, to do all the things that made us use all of our body. Today, what do? You wake up and you have this box life. You have a box breakfast, right? You get in your box car, you drive to your box office, you load up a box elevator. You don't use the stairs, of course, right? You go to your box office where you type on a box, talk on a box, right? Go into a box room for meetings, right? Sure enough, got a little box you can type on, listen to music on, box, have your box lunch, drive your box home, or get in the train or subway, and another box home, get home to your box, and then turn on the box, type on a box, message on a box, and maybe go get a cylinder to change your state, right? Maybe. And most people's idea of exercise in our society today is fill the tub, pull the plug, and fight the current.